This is Bob Maloney from MyMMAnews.com, and I'm really excited to talk today to O'Day, the Jamaican Sensation, Osbourne. O'Day is coming off of a spectacular finish for his first official victory inside the octagon this past weekend. O'Day, it's only been a few days. I know you were on cloud nine afterwards. Tell me what's going through your mind now, the emotions. Are you still feeling that high?
Oh, man, I would say my emotions, I'm pretty grounded right now. I grounded myself right away. So my emotions they're good. At first, it was just like, but I just grounded myself right away to kind of just like, just take a step back and like really enjoy, like, kind of just, okay, this has happened. All right, let's get to the next thing now. Let's try to visualize what the next one is right away. So that's kind of been it.
Well, let's talk about your, since you jumped into the UFC, in 2019, you won by armbar on the Contender Series and you earned your contract. And then, unfortunately, listen, all fighters are going to lose a fight. You lost to Brian Kelleher, but then it had to kill you because COVID set in and you had a couple canceled fights. And did it really seem like it was like over a year since you were actually in the cage? Did it even seem even longer to you? I know that you were probably, I finally worked this hard. I got my contract, and that had to be a long year for you, was it?
It was a long year. It was, So this year, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
This spectacular knockout that you had, it was a quick one, so we really didn't get to learn much about your style or see much of you in the octagon yet. Tell me a little bit about your background, O'Day. How did you get involved in mixed martial arts? What was your introduction to the sport? What were you playing when you were growing up? When did you, start becoming like falling in love with competing and the different crafts that you need to be successful inside the cage?
I would say, well, that was like two questions in one. So hold on, let me see I'm trying to think how I want to answer this. When it comes to styles, people always say, "Oh, what's your fighting style?" And now that I'm maturing as a fighter, I'm like, my answer changed because I really don't say I have one particular fighting style. I think my style changes based on the opponent I'm fighting, if that makes any sense. So I don't just do one style for every opponent. I change it up kind of just a little bit, like where my hands are, how I move. Everything changes based off of the opponent I'm fighting. So, I kind of just try to be as calm as possible. And, yeah.
So, like I said, growing up, when did you, when did you find your love for mixed martial arts? Did you play? What did you do growing up athletic-wise that, led you to this path?
Oh, yeah, so the second question. So I wrestled in high school. So I started wrestling when I was 14. Usually people start when they're like 5 or 6 or 2, whatever. I started when I was 14, and my football coach, actually, I started playing football at Dwyer High School in Florida, which is like one of the top high schools for football. Like we have my graduating class, produce quite a number of NFL athletes who I would say I'm friends with. Probably not anymore. We don't talk as much anymore, but if I reach out to Jacoby Brissett from the Colts, the quarterback, he would respond. But I started playing football after that. I started wrestling and football, but wrestling really paved the way for me to become a martial artist because, it was such a tough, grueling sport. And whatever you put in is what you're going to get out of it. And the wrestling coach was the football coach, the freshman football coach. And he brought me into the wrestling room. And it was just like, he always just has believed in me since I was 14. And I started wrestling, and a lot of times I would get whooped up on by the varsity guys. Some of the varsity guys would whoop me, and I don't know, something about me as a person. Like, I'm real competitive. So, Ben and I spent summers doing camps, all that stuff to catch up, so I can catch up. And by the next year, my sophomore year, I made a huge, leap, and I placed sixth at state. Sorry, my sophomore year in high school, which was unheard of, So, for wrestling only 1 year, then placing at state, it's Ben was a great coach. So that really paved the way for me. So then now Ben moved to Wisconsin my junior year, and I followed him. That's how, he's now one of my fight coaches in the UFC. So it's crazy how, everything works out. So yeah.
So you would say that Ben is who tell me who a couple of the people are who you consider your mentors. Like, say, for example, you had a couple of questions like on the jiu-jitsu end or the striking end. Who would you go to, as far as a technique or something? Who are the voices that you go to that you believe?
Well, I believe heavily in Ben Holmes because I've known him since I was 14, so I know the kind of person he is, and he only wants my best interests. You know what I mean? Since I was literally 14 years old, he's always played like a father role to me, and he's told me since the day he met me on the football field, and it was lightning out one day, so he took all the football players to the wrestling room, and he saw me, and he was like, "Dude, you have like incredible athletic abilities," and he would tell me that every single day, and he just knew how to coach me as a person. You know what I'm saying? Ben always wanted the best for me, like, and it wasn't even a question, he's just a selfless person. And so when he moved to Wisconsin and started wrestling started coaching wrestling for Carroll University, they hired him as a wrestling coach. And so he called me, he's like, "Hey, like, I am the wrestling coach at Carroll University. If you want to come up here your senior year or next year, I can get a spot open for you." Keep in mind, I had college offers that were paying me, and I was gonna get nothing for going to Carroll. So what did I do? Of course, I went with Ben because he's always, I placed at state my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year, and so I went up to Carroll, wrestled for him. When I started wrestling with him, it was the same chemistry. Boom, just like that. Went to nationals the first year. In college as a freshman. Unfortunately, I had a mental self-sabotaging moment, and I beat the #1 ranked wrestler in the nation at nationals, and then I had like I said, self-sabotaging moment, I like to call it, and lost to a guy that I had no business losing to, who I beat before. But after that year, Carroll shut the program down. So I was left without a wrestling program to go to. So then I started going to this gym, and it all started from there. Once I hit the gym, that trainer also believed in me. But for wrestling, obviously, I would go to Ben Holmes, and then striking, both, Zach Otto, he was also in the UFC as well. There's Solo Acosta. He was like a boxer forever, and Solo lives and breeds boxing techniques. Not just techniques, but like angles. He's really good at angles. Whenever you see, if you go back and watch my fight, pay attention to the angles that I was kind of setting him up for. Just go back and look when he's moving side to side, what I do, how I control where he's gonna be. Just go back and pay attention to that. And Solo, he does really, really well with teaching that.
O'Day, I love that story because what you're telling me is you basically followed your heart to get where you're at. I mean, you said that you could have went someplace and not had to pay for college, but something in your heart told you to follow Ben, who you believed in, and now here you are in the UFC, fresh off your first victory.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next for you? I mean, how many months? How long do you think it will be until you get back in there? Because let's face it,
I'm hoping to get in there within 5 weeks.
Wow. You're since you came from wrestling, you know about weight cutting and cardio. So a short camp won't hurt you. Then you're saying, right? You're ready to go in 5 weeks.
Yep.
I'm sure that's what Dana and the matchmakers at the UFC love to hear. You know what I mean? When they call you, they don't want to hear no, right?
I've already talked to them, so we're gonna try to set something up, without giving. We're gonna try to work something out. That's I'm gonna leave it at that.
Especially after that year you just had to go through, that long year without being in there. It was just too long for you. You're 29 years old. You're in the best shape of your life. You're unhurt after a 28-second knockout. The Jamaican Sensation's ready to get back in there and look for a second victory. I hear you.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, me and my manager has already, we spoke already, so he's gonna try to set something up.
All right. Well, listen, my MMA News, thanks you for giving us some time. Give some shout outs or some love before you go. I know you took time out of your day at work, which I thank you for.
You're
Give
good,
some
man.
shout outs or some love because, listen, I saw, I was checking out your social media and I know that you have a lot of students and a lot of people that were very happy for you. And you really need that outside of the cage. Inside the cage, they
Yeah,
close that door. You're all by yourself. Where you need that support is before you get there. And it's great to see fighters get it. And I saw that you have it. So give out some love, my man. The floor is yours.
yeah, man. So first and foremost, glory to God. That's it. That's always been it for me. But my students, shout out to them. They are amazing. Like I said, they're the reason why I am the fighter I am today because I started. I was training just day in and day out, and I got the job part time. Just I didn't even think I really wanted a full time job. I got a part time job, and I realized, wow, this job actually caused me less stress when I'm because everyone sees the glory of the 26-second knockout, but what they don't see is what leads up to that, all the trials and tribulations and everything that leads up to that. And these students are the ones who I come into and I give love to and they give love back, and it's just like, wow, people always, their reaction is, oh my gosh, fifth and sixth grade, that must be horrible. I'm like, no, 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 it's not at all. These kids are so funny. They are. And you know what, I work in an urban education, so I would say that they're they're aware of things, of a lot of things that's around them. I'll just say that, you know what I mean. So you can actually have conversations that they'll be able to really sink into. Like it's Black History Month right now. Right now, I just showed them a Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech for them, and they were just, the way that they were responding to it was just amazing. And just how much they know, and we as adults don't realize that. So I'm sorry, I'm blabbing right now. Whenever I talk
No,
about my
that's okay.
students.
I love it. I love that you're making a difference in the community. I'm automatically a fan. When you tell me stuff like that, you're giving back, and I love people like that. I think that's going to make me root for you. I'm a fan. I know, I'm in the media. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but when I hear a story like that, somebody who's giving back to children, man, I love that, man. You're a good dude in my book. I love it, man.
Thank you, man. It's like, you know, they've had people um, come in and out their lives, teachers, all kinds of stuff, you know. So I think if I had to, I would, every time, 9 times out of 10, I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay and work with them. You know what I mean? Because they're the ones that bring the light to me, and people. It's not, I help them and they help me. It's one of those, like, because they see me as, a role model and someone that helps them and someone that, provides them with comfort. But I feel the same way about them. You know what I mean? So it's a good feeling being able to give back in that way where it's yeah, there's days that are stressful, but man, the end result is just amazing. It's amazing, and that's sometimes that feels better than any raise of your hands or 26-second knockout. You know what I'm saying?
Especially now, listen, you're at the pinnacle of the fight game right now. Those people are gonna, those kids, those parents are really gonna listen to you, because of what you've achieved so far. And this is just the beginning for you. Once again, O'Day, the Jamaican Sensation, Osbourne. It was so great to talk to you. Let's talk again before your next fight. You know what I mean? And get a
Definitely,
little
definitely.
personal. And I'd love to tell your story, man, for your next fight, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, it was a beautiful performance, and my best to you. And like, once again, thanks for giving back to the community. And thank you for working hard and bringing that to the sport, because, I love this sport, and I cover guys who are amateurs, regional, all the way up to the pros and the UFC. And I love to hear stories. You followed your heart. You're giving back to the community. You're good for the sport, O'Day. I'm glad you're here, and I hope your stay is a long, successful one.
Thank you so much. And if fans want to find out more about me, just follow my Instagram, O'Day Osbourne, ODE, O'Day and Osbourne, Osbourne. And so yeah, I always post up, and you can get to know more about me. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
The link, if you're watching this video, the link will be in the story for his Instagram page. I will put that right in the story, and you can also click on the video and see his work, his 28 seconds of work. He probably sweated more in the locker room before he came out than he did in the cage. Once again, O'Day, it was a pleasure talking to you. Can't wait to talk to you again, my man.
All right, bye. Thank you so much.
Got it.